Welcome, and thank you for joining us today during Park Memorial's annual Christmas service. I'm Christy Bennett, president of our family funeral home and the third-generation funeral director. Normally, we'd be a community on this day. We would be here in our Park Memorial Chapel, remembering together, grieving together, laughing and crying, and finding comfort in each other as we look towards this holiday season without someone we love. Instead, here we are, gathering virtually once again in the interest of safety and wellness for all. Never have each and every one of us needed a community of understanding and compassion more than we do right now. Some of you joining us today are families that we have served during the course of the pandemic. Some of your families were not able to honor the life of your loved one the way that you normally would have chosen, with family and friends coming from near and far, with stories and comfort shared. Others of you were not able to honor your loved one at all. Many of you have to live with the knowledge that your loved one died alone in the hospital because of COVID and its restrictions. Understandably, you are likely facing feelings of not only grief, but also other painful emotions such as anger, guilt, remorse, and regret. Our grief is entirely complicated and multi-layered this Christmas. I feel it. We all feel it. Never before have we, as funeral professionals, also needed a sense of community and understanding. We too have lost friends and family through the pandemic while continuing to serve other families journeying through their grief. We were constantly the bearer of bad news as restrictions affected your family's services, sometimes even as late as the night before the funeral. Our hearts hurt with you, and we desired nothing more than to find a solution that would allow your family to honor your loved one in the way that you would have wanted. And so, in our shared need for community and to connect with each other while missing our loved ones this holiday season, we hope that we can all leave this memorial today with some feelings of comfort and hope, and to embrace the idea that love truly does live on. We now invite you to find a candle to light along with us if you so choose, or to light one following the service. May our candles glow together on this day to bring light in the darkness of grief. Our candlelighting ceremony here at Park Memorial will begin with me lighting 2 candles in memory of my grandparents, Todd and Lucy Smolik, who founded Park Memorial just over 80 years ago, and my dad, Jerry, who passed away on October 18th, 2017. We will follow with the lighting of candles by a few of our staff family members in memory of the loved ones they are missing this holiday season. Now, we have the privilege of listening to the beautiful voices of the King's University Chamber Singers as they sing the first Noel as we light our candles.
far to seek for a king that's very intent, and to follow the star wherever it went. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel.
And now I'd like to read a poem called Love Lives On by Wright. I dream of your love. I remember your face. I search for you here, in this time, in this place. I know you are gone, but my heart just won't see. My love still lives on, so I cannot be free. You are my life. This will always be true. Death is no barrier, 'cause my love is true. I still dream of your smile and remember your touch. My love lives in this world, 'cause I love so much. And now I'd like to introduce Christy Bennett. Christy is a grief recovery specialist and funeral life cycle celebrant. She is also a student, currently working on her master's degree in counseling psychology at City University of Seattle. After her mom's death from cancer in 2015, Christy has been dedicated to helping people rediscover joy in their life and thrive after experiencing heartbreaking loss. As a funeral celebrant, Christy specializes in working with families to create one-of-a-kind funerals that celebrate their loved one's life in a joyful, inspiring, and thoughtful way. An advocate for living an intentional and mindful life and believing strongly in the power of gratitude, Christy loves walking in nature with her 2 dogs and spending time with her family. She is warm, she is compassionate, she is caring, and she puts her heart and soul into helping families. Christy?
Thank you, Christy, for that wonderful, warm welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christy Bennett, and I am a grief recovery specialist and a funeral life cycle celebrant. In February 2015, my mom, Carol Ann Stevens, died of cancer at the age of 65. Her death was relatively fast, just 2 months after her diagnosis. I will never forget how Park Memorial took care of my family while we were in just such a state of disbelief. I will always be indebted to their grace and their kindness during the most difficult time in my life and my family. I am so honored that they have asked me to speak to you today about grief, the holidays, and how love lives on after loss. The holidays are approaching, a joyous time, a festive time, a time when families and friends celebrate the passage of another year and the coming of a new year. We are constantly bombarded by images of happy families together sharing the joy of the season. However, this may not be the picture that you can imagine at this point. This time of year can be a struggle for many people for many different reasons, such as it may be your first Christmas after a divorce. You can't be with your family due to an illness, COVID, or distance. Someone you love died. You lost your job and you can't afford to celebrate like you're used to. Or maybe the holidays remind you of a very painful childhood. The list of reasons could go on, and all are valid. But do you recognize them as a loss that you might be grieving? The death of a loved one is recognized as a loss, right? But what about a divorce, a job loss, a traumatic childhood, a miscarriage, a loss of health, or your child leaves home? In fact, there are many life events that you could experience that can cause grief. And unfortunately, the holiday season only intensifies these painful feelings. So what is grief? Grief is defined as the conflicting feelings caused by the end of or change in a familiar pattern of behavior. It's the normal and natural reaction to any change in your life. It's important to know that feelings of grief aren't only the result of death. You might be experiencing multiple losses. Let's look at your life right now. What else could be going on? Financial loss? Are you experiencing a loss of trust? Did you lose a pet? Have you retired? Did you move? And the death of a loved one isn't just one single earth-shattering loss. It's a tremendous loss followed by ongoing secondary losses. These include loss of a support system, sometimes a loss of income and financial security, loss of dreams for the future, a loss of identity, perhaps even the loss of confidence or even a loss of faith. Sometimes grieving people are caught off guard by these ongoing losses and the way that they compound their grief. I strongly recommend that grieving people take the time to assess their secondary losses to understand just how complex their experience of grief really is. It also conceptualizes the things a person might need extra help with coping with. You might not be getting the full support and validation you need this holiday season. You deserve to take the time and the space to grieve these things, no matter how big or small. And it is important to keep in mind that grief is just not a painful emotional experience. It can cause physical symptoms as well, such as chronic fatigue, generalized body aches, headaches, tightness of chest from feeling anxious, forgetfulness, an inability to focus, mood swings, and sometimes appetite changes. Now that we understand the complexity of grief, let's talk about the grief during the holidays in particular. Adapting to the absence of a loved one is difficult enough, but the holiday season, especially the first one, with its constant reminders of holiday joy and tradition, can be very painful. Many people wish they could jump from the end of October to mid-January. But did you ever wonder what makes grief so intense during these holiday seasons? Since Christmas and New Year celebrations are usually shared with loved ones, it means a lot of things can remind people of their loss. Stimulus such as holiday lights, decorations, music, food, and certain traditions can trigger painful memories of your loved one that's no longer here. And for some people, anticipating and perhaps even dreading the upcoming family Christmas dinner is actually worse than the day. Fearing that you may react badly or ruin the holidays for others can lead to even more anxiety and grief. My mom loved everything about Christmas. It was by far her favorite time of year. It was so incredibly painful thinking about Christmas without her. I actually dreaded it. I had a giant pit in my stomach, probably starting October 15th. Everywhere I went reminded me of her. I didn't even know what to do with how to even work Christmas without her. How do we do it? You know what? It's normal to feel this way, to think that you won't be able to handle the pain of the first holiday season, whether the missing loved one is a spouse, partner, parent, grandparent, a sibling, a child, a miscarried baby, or even a friend. You may even think you'd rather skip the holiday gatherings. I do remember thinking, can I just get out of here and leave town, go to Jasper or something alone? These feelings and fears are not illogical or irrational. You aren't going crazy. Anxiety, fear, sadness, confusion, and anger represent a normal, healthy range of emotions when we experience a life-changing loss. But we start to think that what we feel isn't normal because of society's limited ability to talk openly and honestly about grief. We all experience losses and we all grieve. Yet grief is one of the most off-limit topics for discussion in our society. It seems strange that one of the experiences we are all going to have, death, is the one experience that we are ill prepared for and ill equipped to talk about. There are many reasons for this. One is that our society is caught in a happiness trap, insisting that humans are naturally happy and therefore mental suffering is abnormal. Painful feelings or thoughts are seen as a weakness or an illness, a product of the mind that is somehow faulty or defective. So when we do inevitably experience suffering after losing someone we love, we often criticize ourselves as being weak, crazy, or pathetic. We are not taught how to handle difficult emotions. Think about when you were a child. Were you encouraged to express sadness, or instead told, hey, you'll be fine, and just go to your room now? Another reason we are ill-equipped to handle grief is that we've been taught to believe that time heals grief. So many grievers sit and wait while time goes by, but many of us don't feel better. Time doesn't heal, it just passes. Action is what heals grief. We are also taught that we have to be strong for the children, or for other families, in fact. But while we are being strong for them, we bury our own feelings deeper and deeper. Worse, while acting strong for the children, we demonstrate not feeling anything at all, which teaches our children to hide their feelings also. This continues the cycle of not understanding loss and grief. Another way we try to ineffectively deal with our grief is to avoid our feelings by keeping busy. Unfortunately, this doesn't work either. The feelings must come out sooner or later. This is a tactic I tried very often after my mom died. Keeping busy was my thing. It worked okay during the day, but at night when the house was quiet, all those visions of my mom in the hospital bed came rushing back. I felt so sad and anxious that I couldn't sleep, and time didn't take this one away. My point is that everyone reacts differently to painful emotions. But unfortunately, most of us were not taught how to effectively handle grief, especially when we are struck by a grief wave or a burst. You know those kinds, you're in Save On Foods and your mom's favorite song comes on and you just bust out in tears. And all the holiday stimuli will only intensify this feeling, making it more difficult to cope. What I've come to realize is that we must allow our grief to unfold. We must stop being busy and strong and start to be human and feel. We must feel the feelings when they come up. We need to take some time to stop and breathe into the undeniable, sad fact that our loved one is gone. And know that it is completely normal to feel overcome by sadness. When we do this, the pain will start to lessen over time and healing can begin. You cannot run or hide from your feelings no matter how hard you try. You must try to let them flow through you. There's nothing easy about this. I know it. It can be extremely painful, but with some self-care and self-compassion, we can make it through the holiday season and beyond. Seeing other families and couples together just plain hurts. It really does. Acknowledge that the holidays will be different, and they will be tough. Seeing the empty space at the Christmas table will be hard to take. It's all right to cry and let people know that it is hard living without someone special. Tears, my friends, are healthy. I recently heard some words about grief and tears from the actor Andrew Garfield, who recently lost his mom. I'd like to read those to you. If I cry, it's only a beautiful thing. This is all the unexpressed love. Grief will always remain with us until we pass because we never got to spend enough time with each other, no matter if the person lives until 60, 50, 15, or 99. I hope this grief stays with me because it's all the unexpressed love I didn't get to tell her. So be gentle with yourself, especially if you're feeling the physical symptoms of grief. Rest when you need to. Make sure you are taking care of you. How would you treat a friend that is grieving? This is how I want you to treat yourself. Let's go through some other tips for the holidays. One of my first ones is be prepared. Before plans and expectations sneak up on you, think about what you can and cannot do this year. Decide which traditions you want to keep. Decide which traditions you want to change. Decide where you want to spend the holidays. Maybe you want to switch up the location, or maybe it's of comfort to keep it the same. Either way, make a conscious decision about this. Friends and family may, with the best of intentions, make plans for you. They don't understand that the annual tree lighting ceremony, always a favorite of yours, now may cause you to fall completely apart in public, something you would prefer not to do. Know that some things will just be too hard, and accept that. It's okay. Don't fall into the trap of letting others make these decisions for you. Number 2, talk with others. Who celebrates these holidays with you? Who is sharing your grief this year? Try not to bottle up your feelings and talk frankly with those family members and friends that support you, whom you feel safe with. Tell them what is making you anxious and explain that you may have some sad emotional moments. You just might not be yourself. Don't be scared to use text message to do this. I found talking on the phone extremely difficult during this time of year. I was so emotional. I was overcome. So this really did work for me. Listen to their ideas and try to work out the touchy issues. Ignore people who want to tell you what you should do for the holiday. Listen to yourself. Trust yourself. Communicate with your family and do what works for you. Number 3, let others help you and find those shortcuts. If you've always been the one in charge of holidays, it can be hard to let go and at the same time physically and emotionally exhausting to do everything you have done in the past. Choose the things that you want to do yourself. Let other things go. Then invite others to help with specific tasks. Remember that they love you and they want to help. Let someone else bake, clean, decorate your tree. If you're stressed about making the holiday dinner, ask someone else to cook, or do a potluck, which I love, or buy dinner this year. If you're stressed about the crowds at the mall, cut back on gifts, or do your shopping online. My goodness, I love my Amazon Prime. Number 4, it's a hard one. Honor your loved one. There are many ways to do this. Maybe you make a tradition that is just for you. It's private, it's personal. Or you get the whole family involved. That's really up to you. Simply lighting a candle might be enough. You could make your loved one's favorite holiday food. Hang a stocking with their name on it. Invite everyone to write a favorite memory on strips of paper and read them while you are all together. Make a memorial ornament, wreath, or other decoration to honor your loved one. Maybe have a holiday toast in their name. My mom loves some good rum and eggnog. It's always a good one. Organize a sledding or a skating party. Watch your loved one's favorite holiday movie with lots of Kleenex nearby. Buy a gift in their memory and donate it to a favorite charity. But I know for some of you, maybe none of these things sound good or right now. The first Christmas after my mom died was extremely difficult. In fact, as I was preparing for my talk today, I realized that I did not take one picture during that holiday season. Now that's odd. I love taking pictures. And thank goodness for my sister-in-law, my rock, who sent me pictures to jog my memory. I was screaming, what happened that year? It's gone. The first year was all about survival for me, and it might be this for you. I just wanted to make it through. The grief bursts were overwhelming. Those Christmas songs in Shoppers Drug Mart honestly did me in. The Santas everywhere, my mom loved Santas, collected them. And even just shopping for presents was simply overwhelming. Seeing my mom's face in pictures was so painful this year, I couldn't even pull one out for Christmas. As a family, we decided to have a low-key celebration at my own house, and I did manage to display my mom's favorite North Pole Village display, and I dragged out a couple of her Santas. And I remember I placed the Park Memorial candle on my shelf. But you know what? I'm not sure if I even lit it, but it was there and it was Mom. I honored Mom that year in two ways. First, I cooked her traditional Christmas dinner, which was really hard. I felt so sad that I couldn't phone her for maybe the 10th or the 15th time to ask her how to cook the dang turkey. But I made it through. And the second way was that I spoke her name. This might not seem like a very big deal, but it was. I brought her up. I have no idea what I said. It took courage, and I was scared to bring everyone in my family down, to make Christmas about loss. But you know what? The first Christmas is about loss, and it's about the love that lives on, my mom's love in all of us. It was important that she never be forgotten, and I knew that everyone else was probably feeling the same way as I was. There is no right or wrong way to get through the holidays. The holidays are hard, but there can also be love and joy. Remember, it's okay to be happy, to have those moments. This does not diminish how much you love and miss the person who isn't there this holiday. There was some laughter in my house around Christmas. We did some karaoke and it was really bad, and I did laugh and I had some fun. You know what? It was okay. Don't feel guilty. Instead, think of what your loved one would want for you. They would want you to enjoy yourself. They would want to hear laughter. They would want you to remember the beautiful memories and traditions that you shared together. But I am also not naive to those who are in a very dark struggle right now. Sometimes the grieving mind finds no hope after loss. Your heart might be devastated right now. It may feel like your loved one was the only thing that gave your life meaning. I know that some of you are drowning in your grief right now, and you may keep sinking for a little while longer. But eventually you will hit the bottom. There will come a time after honoring this painful grief when the hurting and the emptiness will become too much. Then you will have a decision to make. Do you stay there, or do you push off and start to rise again? When you're ready to hope again, you'll be able to find it. Bad days do not have to be your eternal destiny. Love and grief are a package deal. If you love, you will one day know sorrow. The only way you could have skipped the pain of losing your loved one is if you had never known or loved them. What a loss that would have been. It was in this realization that I found gratitude for my mom and for all the years I got to spend with her. Of course I wanted more, but she changed and enriched my life beyond words. I can't describe it. This was the beginning of my being able to see something meaningful in my grief. As time went on, I have been able to find deeper meaning in my mom's life as well as in her death. Meaning is the love I have for my mom. Meaning is the way I have chosen to acknowledge all the beautiful values she taught me. Meaning is what I try to do for others now, helping them through their grief journey. There is no making sense of death. The moves of the past have been played, but for you, the survivor, the future has many possibilities. I encourage you to take the time to ask yourself the following. How can you honor your loved one, perhaps this Christmas? How can you create a different life that includes them? How can you see your experience to help others or use your experience to help others? Maybe your meaning will come by finding rituals that commemorate your loved one's life, or by offering a contribution that will honor that person, or the loss of your loved one may cause you to deepen your connection to those who are still with you, or to invite back people in your life whom you've been estranged from. Or it may give you a heightened sense of beauty of the life we're also privileged to have as long as we remain on this earth. Meaning will look different for each one of you. Although your relationship with your loved one has changed after death, it will continue no matter what. You will always be connected to your loved one, but you don't have to connect in pain. You can choose to connect in love. All of us have the potential not to just hold on to the love we had, but to nourish and grow it. Find your meaning. Your future is still unwritten. You have loved, you've experienced great loss, but your life continues and there is a reason you're still alive. I encourage you to explore this. I would like to finish today with a quote. I know for certain that we never lose the people we love, even to death. They continue to participate in every act, thought, and decision we make. Their love leaves an indelible imprint in our memories. We find comfort in knowing that our lives have been enriched by sharing their love. May your day be blessed with the happiest of thoughts and memories. Thank you.
In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made blow, earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow hath fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago. Angels and archangels, they have gathered there. Cherubim and seraphim throng the air. But only His mother in her maiden lives. Worship the beloved with the kiss. What can I give Him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what can I give? Give my heart.
Thank you to everyone who has joined us today. I hope you have found Park Memorial's Christmas Memorial to be a special service honoring the memory of your loved one. And I hope it has brought you some feelings of warmth, compassion, and support. Although we couldn't be together in person, we are still joined together with others who understand and are also living through their own loss. As we say goodbye today, I'd like to wish you all peace, hope, and comfort, and a Merry Christmas.
Silence night.